Today's video is sponsored by BetterHelp.com, and I've been with them for a long time. BetterHelp is an online platform where we found that you can effectively communicate with your therapist. Now, you begin by filling out a questionnaire, and then you'll be matched with a therapist within a couple of days. And if that match isn't ideal for you, you can certainly make an adjustment there. Now, you're going to be encouraged to journal, and also they have the availability for group therapy on a wide array of topics, and I really like that. So as the need exists, go ahead and take the necessary steps to get the help that you need. And just know that BetterHelp has a 4.5 rating on Trustpilot, so it indeed is a platform you can trust. There's a link below the video that will take you there. Hey, Team Healthy. I'm glad to have you here for the next episode of Narcissism Is, where we're learning about the many different repercussions that can come out of that pattern of narcissism. See, let's recognize when a person is devoted to narcissism, they already have a predisposition towards rotten ingredients, if that would be a non-technical way of saying it. They're guided by their own selfishness. They're craving to control you. They're quite willing to manipulate and exploit. These individuals have a very low level of empathy for you because they have to maintain a false superiority, which means that they need to keep you in a down position. They hide their real self behind a false pretense of who they would be. We call that their false self. And then they concoct a lot of alternate reality. In other words, they make up the facts as it goes along that aren't very factual. Now, altogether, we can see that this pattern establishes the potential for even worse patterns to come along. And today I'm going to be talking about how narcissism can be its own pathway toward evil. When a person goes further and further down the spectrum of narcissism, they get onto the spectrum of evil. Now, every one of us can have our moments where it's like, oh, that wasn't very good, but we're not going to describe that as evil. If there would be one word that I could use that would give us a good beginning point for understanding what evil is, I'll use the word dehumanization. And when I say you dehumanize somebody, I basically mean that you ignore a fellow human's dignity. In fact, you not only ignore it, but you do all that you can to destroy that person's dignity. That's not a very pleasant kind of thought. Now, the sad truth is that narcissists who have gone deeper and deeper toward evil will not typically admit their evilness. Okay, they'll just say, no, you just don't see the world like I do, and they think of their sense of dominance as a good thing. Let's see if we can zero in on some of the most common characteristics that are a part of the evil spectrum, and then this gives you something to go by as you're trying to figure out who that person in front of you might be. When we talk about a person who is given toward evil with the dehumanization that goes along with it, right at the top of the list, we're going to say, I mentioned that narcissism is about control. Evil individuals want to have control, but they want to have control over pretty much everything. They have a strong need to superimpose their will on someone else, and the way they do it is not pretty. Another ingredient is they have a gross insensitivity towards other individuals' needs. I mentioned that narcissists have a low level of empathy. Evil individuals have zero empathy. It doesn't even cross their mind. As far as they're concerned, you're subpar. Why would I want to try to even attempt to understand you? In the direction of evil, we find that there's a pervasive and an omnipresent aspect of meanness. These individuals look at meanness as kind of a sport. It's kind of something that gives them a thrill. And then let me take an aside. I am so troubled when I see things in the entertainment industry, and I've mentioned this before, but it just eats away at my soul. When I see movies or sporting events, these cage fighting kind of things, or other kinds of things where evil is glorified. It's meant to be that the ultimate toughness and meanness. And there are thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people that go along with that. I'm thinking, where are we going with this, folks? It's not new, by the way. Going all the way back to the gladiator days. Anyway, that's just an aside. They see evil and denigration as a sport. Now, that being the case, when they inflict pain, these individuals, upon others, they find satisfaction. It's not as though it doesn't bother them. They actually find satisfaction. It's like, I have power. You will now succumb to me. They have no remorse for their mistreatment toward other individuals. Their conscience is just turned off. Why would I care about what I do to you? Dominance gives them a sense of excitement. And to them, when you ask, well, can we be a little bit more responsible? Responsibility is not even on their radar list. They don't care. And they see being a responsible, reliable person almost as a sign of weakness. These individuals are inclined to have a very sick and twisted sense of humor. Honesty to them is for losers. It's almost as though if you go into anything that even hints at softness, then you've lost your power, and their chronic need to manipulate other individuals keeps them just playing games with the truth. They have no insight whatsoever. They have no need for self-reflection or self-examination. And when I say no need, none. It's just not there. You're not going to get through to them. Now, once you begin realizing that you're dealing with someone of this nature, it can give you a really queasy, kind of creepy feeling on the inside. Like, how can somebody be this way? And I'm glad that you think that way. But let's keep in mind, though, that your sense of normalcy can actually become both a blessing and a curse. The blessing is that you're somebody that says, well, I want to be guided by a conscience, and I want to realize that these are fellow humans that I'm dealing with. But the curse is the more the evil person begins to see that that's how you think, the more they take delight in bringing you down. That's what we're talking about. When you bring your goodness, your kindness, and your gentleness to them, it's like a shark who sees blood in the water. It's a terrible way to live. And if you're exposed to somebody on an ongoing basis that would fit this description, my heart deeply goes out for you. So you might ask the question, well, are these individuals just born this way? Now, you've heard some individuals say that there's a real strong genetic predisposition towards this. You have other people say, well, hate, which goes along with this pattern, is always learned. And my notion is that I do think that there's some extra genetic predisposition that some individuals can have towards this that other individuals just simply don't have. And then I also think there is a learned aspect to it as well. So in other words, it's a combination of both. And so let's understand that some of these individuals are just going to be this way, and it's so deeply entrenched that they're not going to get out of it. Teachings about morality or basic right and wrong don't work with them. You go way back in their past. It didn't work on them way back then. To them, morality is irrelevant. They couldn't care less. They've been exposed to a judgment system or a shame system in the way that they were brought up. And so their only response is, you know what? I'll become the one who doles all that stuff out. And that means that I win. And so, yes, they've had, experiences of shame and judgment. But instead of them thinking, I need to examine myself so that I don't become the same way, they just become better than the person who gave it to them. And then when you attempt to rebuke or punish these individuals and say, I'm not going to stand for this, your rebuking actually gives them strength. It's like, okay, now that you've said that you're going to be that way towards me, I'm going to show you who's the one who has to be contended with, and it's not going to be good for you. Now, there's some insights that we need to hold on to as we try to figure out the wisest way to respond to these people. And that is, keep in mind, with these individuals, your plea for goodness and decency impresses them zero. remember the dehumanization thing. They don't care about your worth. They don't care about respect and honor and dignity. Why would I care about what you feel or need or want? To them, you are an object. You're a tool to be used. That's it. And so, that being understood, you're going to need to keep your distance, and the most distance you can do, the better. You don't ever want to put them on your rescue list because they'll just bring you down as opposed to you bringing them up. The evil individual is someone who absolutely cannot attach. They don't have that heart connection. It's just simply not there. Keep in mind, they need to see you in non-human terms. And they have no appreciation for the fact that you indeed do have inborn worth. Now, I'm hoping that as you see this and you understand that this is a pattern that these individuals can get into, that it gives you a sense of resolve that says someone, myself included, needs to stand for the opposites. I want to stand for kindness. I want to stand for common decency. I want to stand for self-restraint and helpfulness and patience and honor and warmth. I want to stand for mercy. I want to stand for goodwill. I want to stand for charity. I want to stand for encouragement. That's who I am, and that's what gives me my thrill. And then we're going to pick up on the old proverb that says, don't exchange evil for evil or insult for insult. I don't want to go into their space with them. And let's keep in mind that when we use that word dehumanizing, they want to dehumanize you. It's because they don't even see their own humanity. They're the ones who have become dehumanized. Try to remember that and don't let their message get inside your mind. Now, I know this is a hard topic, and again, my heart goes out to you if this is something you're having to come to terms with. If you haven't already hit that subscribe button, please do so. One of the things that I want to do here is I want to give you insight and awareness so that you can at least be your best version of yourself despite their unwillingness to join you. Now, you know that I'm a huge proponent of therapy. I've been sponsored for years by the people at BetterHelp.com. It's an online therapy resource. If you have a need for someone to help you sift this out, and obviously this is a big one, please make yourself available to the therapy issues that would be there for you or potential. There's a link below that will take you to the folks at BetterHelp.com and get the help that would be warranted. Now, I invite you to go to my website. It's a very large website. I have lots of resources on there. You're going to see a tab that says courses, and I have 4 primary courses. Each one has at least 25 teaching videos with handouts and guided questions. It'll walk you through the therapeutic process. We have one on anger games, one on boundaries called This Is Me. We have one about healthy connections called Ready, Set, Connect, and one about reclaiming yourself despite their control over you called Free to Be. And so look into those. Also, you'll see a webinar tab. Those are PowerPoint presentations that last about 90 minutes. Those are available along with hundreds of articles and my book. So we have a lot of resources. Evil exists. And some individuals have lost their sense of humanity. Therefore, they dehumanize you and anyone else that's in front of them. Know that to be true. And I'm hoping in the process, you're going to decide, well, when I recognize that that's what I'm dealing with, my number one goal is to practice self-care. I hope that you'll do that and keep yourself on the path towards goodness. And in doing so, I'm hoping you can find peace separate from them. They'll never know peace, but I'm hoping that can be something that you can anchor down in.